to the Do This for Life podcast with OEV's Revamp. I told y'all the revamp was coming. Now it's here. So y'all get ready for this. And come get it off your chest.
Dreamers to do this for life.
That's right.
Think you say make God it's time, we'll get it off your chest. Chips and sex.
Come on.
We gon' get it right. Dreamers to do this for life.
That's right.
Think you say make God it's time, we'll get it off your chest. The chips and sex, come on, yeah.
Welcome to the Ships and Sex Podcast with your big sis OEV of Be Truly Faithful. I'ma still be right here in your ear every Wednesday, exposing the ills of our relationships and the repression of our sex lives, while always giving practical steps to get us from struggle to liberation. So come get it off your chest at Ships and Sex. So let's chill into today's episode. What's up, everyone? And thank you for tuning in to what I believe is episode 10 of the Ships and Sex podcast with your big sis, OEV of Be Truly Faithful. And today, ladies, I'm just gonna, come straight from the heart, shoot straight from the hip, no editing, just raw. Normally, I edit a lot, and these podcasts, actually, if y'all didn't know, they take anywhere from 3+ hours to edit. Just for 20 minutes or just for 30 minutes, okay? So I'm not doing that today. And you're going to hear why soon. But you may hear my mistakes today and all of that. So y'all just roll with it. But I need to share from my heart today. I don't have any notes, straight from the heart. So you may hear some background noise and all of that. If you all do not know, I have been married a little over 14 years. And my husband and I have 5 amazingly talented, skillful, beautiful children. I know we all probably say that about all our children, right? But we really do. And they are stair steppers. So that means we got 2 more birthdays this year. So right now they're currently, I'll just go and tell you from back. Like my oldest is 12. My second born is 10. She just turned 10, got her first phone. And then my firstborn son is 8. And then my youngest daughter is 5. She will be 6 very soon. And the baby boy is 3. He will be 4 very soon. So I have stair steppers, like real live true stair steppers. So that means that when my youngest was 1, then the next was 3, and then the next was 5, and then the next was 7, then 9, So it's been interesting how that turned out though for my husband and I, because we didn't expect to have children back to back like that, but we did. And today I want to talk about something dealing with one of my children and a little bit with all of them, but especially one of them that is so prevalent in the Black community, actually. And I normally listen. This can be in any culture, by the way, any culture, any home, any household, or whatever. But I notice it to be very strong in the Black community. And since I am Black, I'm going to come from that perspective today. And I hope that this touches some hearts for people today. And it may be a little emotional for me to do this because it was happening in my own home and I don't think I realized it. Now, I have written about some of this, what I'm going to share about today. I've written about this when I started realizing it, but I think it was like, what do you call that? It was amplified once there was a huge life change in my marriage, okay, and our family. So let's talk about that. For those that don't know, here we are after 14 years of marriage, and my husband and I now live apart. And I think I took that in stride. I really think I took that in stride. Like, okay, babe, this is what we're going to do. He and I discussed all of this, and I can give y'all details another time. But basically, it's to better our family. And he took a much, much higher paying position to do what he was doing here, and he moved away. And y'all, it hasn't been the easiest. In fact, it's been extremely challenging. But in the beginning, when the move was made, I felt like I was taking it in stride. Like, we could do this. You know, it's not going to be the easiest, but we can do this. We sat down with the children and told them what was going on. You know, we drove him down there, and everything worked out so fast, too. The move happened so fast because we were like, wait, wow, this is good and scary at the same time. And so it's kind of like when you hear in the Bible when Yeshua says, I go to prepare a place for you. And that's kind of like what my husband did. Like, I'm going to make things better for us. And even though we do all this stuff online, many haven't seen my husband be online like we were once before when we were doing Truly faithfully at one time. But things change because we have 5 children and they start getting older. And, you know, you have to do what you have to do to make sure they have a very good life. Well, along the way, y'all, I made a lot of mistakes with my oldest child. Okay, my oldest daughter, who's 12. And I made a lot of mistakes because I had high expectations for her. And she was slowly or quickly becoming, she had to grow up. When I say fast, I don't want to say it like, you know, when you hear people say so fast, they grow up so fast. No, I want to say it in a way of, she had to be a big sister at 2 years old, because that's when her baby sister was born. And then when she was 3, just 3 years old, y'all, she had a baby sister and a baby brother. And when I look at her and what she's become, she's an amazing young lady. Anybody that knows her knows how amazing she is. But she's had to be a big sister for quite a long time. You're talking about a decade here for her. She's been a big sister to several siblings. And that meant a lot of times that she couldn't get the time from me or her dad that we had to give to the others because they were younger and didn't know. And so when you have to grow up fast like that as the oldest child, you actually end up having so much sacrificed that is supposed to be by birthright, is supposed to be yours. It's supposed to be yours. That time is supposed to be yours. You're at least supposed to, you know, how can I say this? At least you're supposed to get enough time with your parents before another sibling come along, right? But that's not how we did that. It's not how that happened. In fact, my second born, she has her own thing too, y'all. I could do a whole podcast, a whole episode on her alone, but when our second child was born, we were like, she was planned. We were like, this is going to be a playmate for our oldest daughter. But then the other births, not all the rest of the births were planned, y'all. So it used to just be the 4 of us chilling, whatever. But then that boy came along during the time when my husband and I were actually separated in our marriage. I'm talking about separated, like we ain't getting along, there's animosity and all of that. But so at 3 years old, she was a big sister twice. And I have this picture, I'll see if I can find it, but I had this picture of her holding her baby brother in the hospital with her 1-year-old sister sitting next to her. And her face was one of seriousness. It was like, I have to be strong. You know, I have to be here for my siblings. And literally, oh, y'all, let me keep it together. But literally, that's what it's been like for her. Like, I have to be strong for my siblings because she has 4. Okay. But what I didn't realize along the way, and what a lot of blacks, it's prevalent in the black community that we do, is we put a lot on our oldest child. We put a lot on them and expect them to do so much because we had them. Like, they didn't ask to be here, but it's like, you're here now. So you're going to have to do this, that, and the other. I worked really hard in not doing that with my oldest, but along the way I did. And I started talking about that. I want to say that was either earlier this year, 2018, or sometime in 2017. I put up a post with me and her in it. I shared how, you know, the things that she's dealt with as the oldest child. Now, let's be real. First world problems. We're in America. How hard can it be, right? We're not in other cultures where you have no choice but to do certain things. You know, we're here in America, you know, of the privilege. So even being black in America can be more privileged than anywhere else in the world, right? Even though we go through a whole lot as blacks, and we deal with a lot everywhere. We deal with racism literally on every continent, y'all, just about anyway. And so I don't want y'all to think that it's been so bad that she hasn't had. No, I think my children have a very good life, especially compared to my own growing up and whatnot. But there was definitely some things I missed along the way that she had no choice but to do because her parents said so, especially her mother. And along the way, she developed this side. And I'm thinking, oh, it's just coming with age. I need to check her on it. She's being disrespectful. And it wasn't that. And I'm like, why is she doing that? Why are you doing that when I'm trying to tell you I need you to do this or to do that? And so one day she said, I just want to sit down. I just want to sit down. I have to keep getting up from my siblings, especially her younger two, my youngest two. Oh, a 3 and a 5-year-old. Y'all know what it's like to have a 3 and a 5-year-old in your home who was just coming from being a 2 and a 4-year-old working together seemed like against you. Like, it's a lot. I have to say, of all of my children, I was harder on my oldest, and I have been harder on my oldest. When I taught my oldest how to read, because I've taught my children how to read since we homeschool, but when I taught my oldest how to read, I was super hard on her. Like, you're going to learn. We're not going anywhere until you get this pronunciation done. No, she was 4 years old. And she didn't even get it until 6. And it wasn't that she was slower or anything. It was just being the first. You have so many high expectations of them and you want them to get it right. Because what I was really doing was, I wanted her to learn. And then I was facing all these pressures from people saying don't homeschool or whatever. But I wanted her to learn. And I wanted her to learn fast to prove a point. She was like the one I had to show people I knew what I was doing. You know what I mean? Because you're having all these children. You know what you're doing over there. And, y'all need to stop having kids. Y'all know all that stuff that people say to you when you have a lot of children. And 5 is considered to be a lot. And so I was harder on her. But there's something that a lot of us has done as parents. And if you can relate to this, you might can relate to this because you are the oldest child out of your siblings, and your mom may have done this. And I was so hard on her, and I have been so hard on her. I expect her to do a lot. So here we are making this change. I'm now getting to it. This life change. This was a huge change in our life, but I didn't realize how big it was until everything hit the fan. And so here I am, like expecting, like we're all going to step up and take up the slack. When I tell y'all, like I knew all the things that my husband did, but I did not realize how much of an impact this move would make on us here. It was so huge, y'all. And so I'm like, we're going to step up. And I was still trying to do all this, doing my podcast, doing my Tuesday talks, trying to do my Thursday sex talks, working my email list, engaging with people online, going live with my best friend. And I was I was doing all of that still. So I haven't made any adjustments in my business, in the things that I do, where I work to empower and help women and be the big sis to women. I was still doing counseling sessions. This is me doing those quick OEV consults, and then I was doing the Help My Life sessions, still trying to do my laundry at home and all the things here. And y'all, I just had a breakdown. But what I didn't know, I stressed out so bad, and I had a breakdown. But what I didn't know was my oldest was right behind me. One day she came out of the shower and all her stuff was messed up. At 12 years old, you don't want your stuff messed with, right? All her stuff was messed up. She had spent so much time setting up a place for her. And she came out and she sat on the side of the bed, and I walked in, and my first thought was, oh man, why didn't I watch them? Why didn't I get them? And she was basically saying things that a parent says, when I leave, it's like I can't do anything because they're going to come in here. And I was just like, wait a minute. And I watched her sit on the side of the bed, and she broke down and she started crying. I was like, what's wrong? What's I know that they shouldn't have been in here. What's wrong? And she poured out her heart to me, and I just held her, and there was just no way we could just keep going like this. So this may be my last podcast in a minute. I'm not saying forever, just until we're adjusted more, because I don't think we've had time to really adjust to this move. And I see this a lot in the Black community, where we put so much on our oldest, and they have no choice. They have no say. They have no voice. They have to do it. If they don't have a choice. And I sat there and looked at her, seeming to be stressed for a 12-year, just wanting to be 12. She just turned 12, and this is a beautiful thing for her. A lot of things happened in this year for my oldest, but she had no choice. If she went to the kitchen to get something, she had to get something for all her siblings. If the youngest two messed up, they could only clean up well for long. They can only do so much, right? They're not like her and her other siblings. So that means she was going to be the one to be cleaning up. Now, the thing is, she'll do that with her other siblings. She has an 8-year-old brother and a 10-year-old sister. But she's like, they don't do it like she does it. And you know why? Because it seems like I've perfected in her of what I expect of her. And so she does it so well. So like if she is the one that's supposed to wash dishes, I know those dishes are going to be clean by hand. But if I have to say that her 10-year-old is going to wash dishes, it's not going to be the same as the 8-year-old and the 10-year-old doing it when she does, except when she does. When my oldest does something, it's going to be really done right. So here I am in this situation, like, wow, I knew I started realizing this more and more last year, but I think it was amplified this year with this move, that here I am working to continue to do what I've always done, but there was a major move that happened in all of our lives. You're talking about a 2-parent home where she's loved greatly by her mother and father, where and my husband is he's very active. He's very involved in the lives of our children. He is the one that took them to the park most of the times. Not me. That's not something I did. I don't like, y'all, it'd be hot in summertime. I'm just gonna be real. I do not like being outside in the heat. I'd rather be outside in the cold than be outside in the heat. But I'm from the South, so I don't like either. But I prefer coldness over hotness. And this my husband left a huge void. Now we keep in touch with him. We talk to him and they text. My older 2 daughters have phones now that they text, and we do video calls. We do all of that, but it's not the same because we have a household to run. But here I was watching my oldest break down, and she was like, now I have to fix all this. So I helped her to fix it. I also made the youngest 2 help too. The ones I knew did it, especially my very youngest. With all that being said, I had to stop. That was the moment. It shouldn't have took that moment, but that was it. That was the moment I said, I can't do this. I cannot do this. So she asked me for something on her phone, once she calmed down. And I said, sure, you can have it, baby. And I've been working on her a spa day to go with her and some of her girlfriends. And then I'm also working on her, like she's big into her own space. From little siblings, I guess when you're the oldest and you have younger sisters and brothers, you want some time away from them and not be responsible for them so much. Because now, y'all, when we go out together, ask anybody who runs into the V-Force when we're out. Watch my oldest how she is. She's like, come on, baby man, come on over here. Don't do, and I had to tell her the other day in the store, I said, you're going to have to start relaxing. Now, I still want you to be, on guard. Okay. As the big, as the oldest sister, as the oldest sibling, but relax. I got this. I'm here. Mommy, it's me. I got this. I want you to relax. I got him and I got her. I'm talking about my 3 and 5-year-old. Like, you just be in the moment of being in the store too. All right. We look out for one another. Yes, we should always do that. But I don't want you to feel like you have to. It's automatic in her. It's been embedded in her and put in her for so long, instilled in her for so long that she is the oldest sibling. There's something that just comes in you when you're the oldest sibling. I'm not an oldest sibling or oldest child, so I don't know, like, based off experience, but I'm learning from her. And I've taken the time to sit down and talk to other ladies who are the oldest child, who were the oldest child in their homes and growing up. And I told her to relax. I had to tell her to relax all throughout the store visit. And then when I saw her relax, it was like eye-opening for me. It was like, okay, this is how it should have been. But I missed it, y'all. I missed it. Here I am talking about relationships with women. And guess what? You have to remember you have ships with your children too. And they're going to get older one day and they're either going to resent you or love you. And some of them are going to love you by choice because it is automatic for them. And others are going to be they're going to love you because they're forced to, because you're their parent, you're their mother, and they're going to have to love you and protect you because it's what they've been used to doing. But really, they have issues with you. And one of the things I never want to do is not create an atmosphere, not having an atmosphere for my children to come to me about anything. And my oldest, I can't say thank the Most High for this and thank myself even for the work I put into that, and my husband at the atmosphere we created, that we do tell our children that we're sorry when we miss it, and that we do reward them for things that they do, things that they don't even have to do. We have to remember that children grow up and that we also build ships with them too. Each one of our children. after 14 years of building together in one place, in the same home, that we're still building, but we're doing it in two separate places. And I think I didn't adjust right. I was still out here trying to help all of y'all, and seemingly, or at least I felt, failing my children. And that's probably harsh and probably even big, but I couldn't keep doing these things. The same thing I was doing, the same things I was doing when my husband was here. I can't do it. So I'm going to have to fall back on a lot of this. And whether people understand or not, I know many will, but I know some be like, well, no, if you're needed, you have a purpose. And yeah. And one of my main purposes in life is to raise productive citizens of society, to raise functional children in function, okay? To raise established children who are ready for this world, and what they need is time and attention. So it's like I'm getting ready to explain, like I explained the other day, I said that it's like you're living a lifestyle based off two incomes. And then if one income is lost, do you still continue to live that lifestyle, or do you adjust to losing one of those two incomes? You have to adjust, right? You can't keep living like you lived on one income, like the way you lived off two, because if you do that, you're going to end up losing it anyway and stressing yourself out trying to keep that lifestyle. Like, no, we don't have to do that. We have to adjust. So even with time, look at it at incomes of time. There was time, among other things, that has been lost here, where it's all on me now. And my husband does so much from afar. It's just not, the physical presence is missing, but he does come down and things like that. But most of our days now are without him. So with that being said, this is what I learned. Number one, you cannot make children your slaves. I'm not saying I did that, but oftentimes many of you who are grown felt like that. You felt like you had to do everything behind your younger siblings. You felt like you didn't get the time that you deserved from them, because listen, we have 5 children, so our time has always been split. But as the children, as my older children got older, they were more self-sufficient. So you had to give a lot to your younger siblings, right? To the youngest children. Well, you can't do that and keep giving it to everybody in the world too. So I would be locked up in here all day on Wednesdays doing this podcast. I would be working very hard on and taking up hours of my time doing lives on Tuesdays. I'm going backwards here, but y'all get the point. I did my lives and I would be on those posts and talking to ladies. Then I was doing my counseling sessions as well. And I'm doing all of these things while my oldest looks after her siblings. Now, this is what I've been doing for the last month since my husband has moved. See, before, when he was here, I had him for that. And he and I are in this business together, so he understood. He understood that, and I understood when he needed time. I would take the children places while he drew, and do things for his clients and whatnot, as well as if he needed to go live or work with, collaborate with other men. And so he would do the same for me. We had an understanding. This was normal for us, but when changes come, you have to adjust. So our children are not our slaves. I know some of y'all in other cultures are like, nah, or, just here in America who were raised by their parents are like, no, you have to do. If mama said do it, you got to do it. I realize that some of y'all were raised that way, or many, but it's not fair to the children when you give them a title as a second mom and don't realize it, or second dad, or the dad or the man of the house and don't realize it. I didn't take my 8-year-old son and make him the man of the house. Now, listen, don't get me wrong. He may call himself that, but the title, the responsibilities that my husband had did not pass on to my son. And I'm just saying, y'all, that I missed it. I missed it big time. And now I'm rebuilding that with my oldest daughter. And I'm working to spend more time with her. When she comes into my room, I put everything down and I'm focused on her because I have an open door policy. And we talk and we do things. And the other day at the store, I made all of them stay together, in eyesight. And then I took her with me and I asked her for her help in choosing out some things we needed from home. And she chose, and she was just very thorough, and she articulated what we needed and why. And she just seemed more upbeat and more, cheerful and just more relaxed. Y'all just don't know, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And I've apologized to her, and I'll continue to do it in my actions because I'm big on, not giving apologies that we don't mean. Saying I'm sorry means nothing if there's no actions with it. So that's what I've been doing, and that's what I will continue to do. And I'm praying and believing this is not this won't be a long transition here. Like it is what it is. But this is only supposed to be temporary. All right. It's only supposed to be temporary until things are better. And then boom, we're all back together. So with that being said, I just want to say that we got to continue to build relationships, good, healthy relationships with our children. We got to continue. We got to be in function with them. We got to sit down and talk about these things and apologize to our children. Now, we've been big on that, but we've missed it in other areas. I can't be out here building up y'all homes and mine is going to hell. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen, y'all. I'm just being real. So this wise lady told me a story recently, and it was the second time she had told it to me. And she said when she was growing up, she was the oldest child. And at the time, the youngest child in her clan, I think it was 4 of them, was a toddler. She was a toddler, her baby sister. And, you know, there's potty, right? The sister went to the potty and had to go number 2. Well, the little sister stuck her hand in the potty and got the feces that was in there and spread it all over the wall. And so her mother was just chilling, I think, on the phone or watching TV. And she said, she called her by name, said, you need to get that up. And she's like, me? What? Me? And at the time, I think she was around the age of my daughter, my oldest daughter. And so she had to clean that mess off the walls and the areas in their bathroom. And she said as time went on, she resented her mother. And those words stung me. Resent? That's a have y'all ever looked up the word resent? That's a very strong word to feel towards the one who birthed you. And I can only imagine how many of us out here has had those kinds of feelings towards our mothers. And her mother passed on. And that was the way that she felt about her mom. And she said she made it a point. She said her children were not going to have to deal with things like that. They have to do things, yes. But she even admitted to, hey, I was harder on my oldest. And maybe we all are hardest on our oldest. I don't know. Maybe. But I know in the end, whether we're hardest on them or not, what we cannot do is make them take the place of another adult. That's not why they're here. They need to grow up and flourish and be watered just like their baby siblings. They need to have time with you and time with us just like their younger siblings. So if that means I got to adjust and stop doing this for a minute, then I will adjust and stop doing this for a minute. It will be here. If that means I got to shut down counseling and doing appointments for a minute, for right now, I will do that. It will be here. All of this will be here because the more I sit here and do these things and give my time to everyone else, I'm lacking. That time is being taken from my children. It's been taken from them. And they didn't ask for that. They didn't ask to be here. They didn't ask to get put in positions where they have to do your work or my work. They didn't ask for that. They are here to grow up, to flourish, to be watered, to be poured into. And contrary to popular belief, our children need me time too. And they also should be rewarded. I was talking to my best friend through text the other day. And she said, that's where many parents miss it. And I'm paraphrasing because I'm not looking at the text. But she said, that's where we miss it, where a lot of Black parents miss it. We do not seek to reward our children. Our children get put responsibilities on them, especially the oldest child, and they're never rewarded for it. They're never rewarded for cleaning up the entire house or watching their siblings while you go out and run errands, or they're never rewarded. And that was just confirmation for me of what I had already planned for my oldest daughter. So, y'all, I'm going to do something I probably haven't done in this podcast. And I'm going to say a prayer at the end here, just to say that, for one, I had to repent, y'all. I had to do a 180-degree turn and say, no, turn around and say, no, this is not going to continue. And I may not have been the worst of the worst, but still, it wasn't good. If my daughter is sitting on the side of the bed breaking down about something that would seem so simple to most, that means stuff had been piling on, y'all. We have got to stop doing this. So how do we stop doing this? Number one, we got to stop looking at our children as slaves, or two, looking at them as if they owe us. We're the ones who made them and brought them into this world. We owe them 3, we also got to stop looking at our oldest child as the one who has all the responsibilities. And if the younger children do something and they do something bad, the oldest should not be the one to pay for it all the time. Like, well, they did this, well, you got to clean it up. No, we're the parents. We had these children. We're going to clean it up, and we're going to get our younger children, and we're going to get down there and we're going to clean up whatever it is. It's not the oldest fault that they did that. You know, well, she should have been watching. How do you know that she wasn't watching them? What if they did it anyway? I sat back one day, y'all. I'm telling you, when I come into my own and I'm shown things and it's amplified to me, I see clear. When I don't have all this stuff on me, I can see clear. And I saw one day my 3-year-old just did something deliberately after his big sister told him not to do it. And she told him several times, don't, you better not. And she tried to even remove him from the situation. And as he was being removed from the situation, he did it anyway. He threw it down and spilled everywhere anyway. And I got up and was like, I got to get this up. Come on, you gonna help me. Who did I say you gonna help me to? Him, the one who did it. Because I know 3-year-olds don't clean up the best. But we're going to do something. And she went to chill. It happened while they were on the way down the hall, and she was like, don't. And I'm back, I'm chilling and whatever. And I actually should have gotten up to think of, to be more honest, I should have got up as soon as I heard her say something to him. But I also know they're going to be together, and they're going to see things where I'm not right there. But basically, I'm just saying, y'all, we can't see them as slaves, and we can't be putting all these responsibilities on them like they're adults. And we can't make them pay for what their siblings do. It's not right. It's not fair. We also have to continue. If we've started that, we got to continue. But if not, we have to create an open atmosphere for them to be able to share their feelings. And you cannot penalize children for their feelings. It's not fair, nor is it right. That's something we do not do. Now, that's something I have to say that my husband and I do not do, because we knew what it was like to be penalized for feelings. So when she said, I'm getting tired of it, my oldest actually said once, she said, I'm tired of having to do so much for them. It shouldn't have even came to that, y'all, but it did. It did. And I'm just letting y'all know that I missed it too. But the one thing I love about ships, y'all want to know the thing I love about being in ships, not just with other women or my husband, but with my children, is I get a chance. We're all alive. We all have breath. I get a chance to make it right. I get a chance to reward her. I get a chance to reward them all when they do good. I get a chance to turn around, a change. I don't have to keep going in the way that I'm going. I get a chance to listen and hear. Not just with my ears, but my heart and my spirit, and say, you know what, baby girl, you're right. I should have done this. Let me do this. So guess what? By the time she's an adult, she can say, you know what? I had some hard times there as a child, considering, where we live and where we're from. But I love the way my mom and dad made things right when they messed up. I love the way the atmosphere that I could come to them about anything. Because if I lose her now, I would never get her back. Do you know how hard it is to get a preteen back? They enter into teen years, and that be it a lot of times. If you missed it so many times in so many years, it's hard to get them back. I hear too many parents talk about how things change when they hit 13. I'm listening to y'all. I'm listening. I'm taking notes. I'm applying things. This is why, too, we need one another, ladies, to be there for one another, not beat each other up, but to be there for one another and listen to the wisdom we all have. Because there are some grown women out there today that have mommy issues. And my children, I am determined to make sure my children are not any of them. That they are not adults broken because of what their parents lacked or missed. And their parents never tried to correct it. And if they go to their parents today and try to tell them about what happened, they don't want to hear them. I know what that's like, to try to go to your parent and tell them about something they did, and they don't want to hear from you. They just dismiss you. And you feel worse. No, it can't be here. And I'm not saying I'm trying to raise children differently than I was raised. I'm saying I want to be better. I want to be a better mother. I want to have better relationships with my children, still have better relationship with my husband and those in my circle. All of that is important. All of that is important. So on behalf of mothers everywhere, Black moms, on behalf of those who are, and I'm not an oldest child, but I'm going to speak on behalf of my oldest child. For those oldest childs of the world, those oldest children of the world, I want to say that I'm sorry. Like I've said to her, I'm sorry that I missed it as a mother, but I'm working hard to get better. I'm sorry I missed it. I'm here to repair any breach in any ship that I have. I'm here to repair that anything that I missed with my children. I'm here to make right. I'm here to make right. And I'm learning, but I don't want to keep practicing with my oldest child, because that's who we miss it with the most, right? Our oldest. We miss it with them more than we miss it with any of our children, right? Because we're learning. We didn't know. We were parents for the first time. But she is not an adult. And she will not be made to be an adult before she is an adult. So this podcast, this episode is dedicated to my oldest child, Precious. And I'm going to let her listen. Y'all, I love you. And I want you to know that mommy is sorry. That it took me a minute to get it. I know you miss daddy. And I know that I was so busy working, building a nation. And I forgot that the nation needs my time and attention. And I realize now, my firstborn, love you, and I'm going to do better. So, that's all I got for y'all today. And I do encourage some older children out there who are grown to reach out to their parents if they can. You know your situation better than I do. Some of y'all understand you cannot reach out and you're looking for closure. For those who can, write a letter, say something, text something like, I want to talk to you. I want to share some things with their parents. It may or may not make a difference to them, but it may make one to you. Normally I end this with where you can hit me up. And you can go to oeb.life and you can set an appointment, but I will not be doing any appointments right now. You can set one for the future. I saw some women that set appointments way in November. I'm like, woo, that takes a load off me for now as we continue to enter into this adjustment. And if I need to reschedule those when November hits, I will. But right now, I thank y'all for tuning in. I pray that you share. And I'm going to take a real break, a for real fallback. All right. And I hope this episode blessed you in some type of way. And I'm not just trying to pick on us as Black women and Black mothers. I know it may seem like, oh, we're always talking about us. No, I'm a Black woman. I love us. I love women. I love Black women. I am one. I'm a woman and I'm Black. So I'm just saying this seems to be, and we know it, we have to be for real, it's prevalent in our communities. And I know of many Latinos that will say this is prevalent in our community as well. So I'm not trying to just single out the Black. It just means Black community. It just means that I'm speaking from that perspective, and I've seen it way too many times. And I know some single mothers out there, or those who are raised by single mothers, can agree of what they had to deal with when daddy wasn't around, or whatever. So I ask for your prayers. And like I said, I'm going to do something I haven't done on my podcast before. I'm going to say this prayer and I'm done. Father, I just thank you so much for the opportunity to share with the world the truth, my struggles too, the struggles that I have and the solutions I have for my own struggles. And I thank you for our opportunity to do that. I pray that someone listening today that may have been doing the same thing I was doing or less or more will create a window of opportunity and an atmosphere that their children can come to them and speak to them about it, especially if they've been being a little bit too hard on their oldest child or putting too much responsibility on their oldest child. And I pray also, I want to say this for the oldest childs of the world who are grown now, who never gotten apologies from their parents or from their mom. I just hope that I can say this on the behalf of those mothers that should have apologized and should have rewarded them and should have loved them more and gave them more time, but didn't. I just apologize on their behalf. And I pray that the actions I take in my own family, and that if they're following me on social media, when I share those posts about my children and whatnot, that they see that I am working very hard to make sure I don't create any more ships with children that are strained or in dysfunction. That instead I work very hard to create them to be functional, and that those from around the world who are watching me or who've been watching our family can see that I mean every word, and that those older children will heal. I know they're now adults, but that they will heal. They will heal from these past ships with their parents that wasn't the best, where they had all these responsibilities put on them and were made to do them, and they had to do them, and they were forced to do them because they were the oldest child, or they were the child of their parents. So I pray that you heal their hurting hearts today, and I pray that you convict the hearts of those who needed to hear this message today to deal with relationships with their own children, that maybe they will sit down and talk to their children and ask them how they feel and actually take into consideration what their child is saying. In Yeshua's name, amen. I'm done, y'all. Share, and I may not be right here in your ear next Wednesday, but I will return as soon as I can when my house is continuing to be in order and my children are safe in their spirit and their feelings and everything, mental, all of that. When I know that that's good, and when my husband is more around, then maybe I'll hit one out there for y'all. All right, I'll slam one out there for you. All right. So for those listening for the first time, I am a certified life and sex coach, exposing the ills of our ships and the repression of our sex lives while giving pragmatism to get from repression to liberation. And I have to say today, I had to expose the ill of my own ship and give solutions, pragmatic solutions, to get from being repressive. I think that's a bit repressive for older children to deal with. And so I had to also, if I repressed you, I got to liberate you. Simple as that. If I repressed you, I got to liberate you. So if I repressed her, I have to liberate her. And I will say, thank the Most High, I've been working on that to make sure she is liberated. So I love all my children, but this is dedicated to my oldest, precious Antonia. All right, everyone. I will be back in time. Much love.